too, right? So are you all set for now? Are you still measuring?
So now I'll just put, so I have to, so I just need to cut. I need to put cotton on and then
Well,
cut.
cut the fabric first.
Okay.
So you you want to go over to the cutting table and take,
Sure.
Okay, let's go over here. Push that over there. Actually, we're going to work on this side. I did wipe this down. I know that if you want to wipe it more, you can, but. So the first thing we do is determine the size of the fabric, the side that you're using.
Okay. So this is the good side?
That's the good side. So guys, there are 8 ways you can run a fabric. The 2 main ways, right, which would be which side you pick. That's one way. And then you can run it up the roll, down the roll, or railroad it both ways. So that's times 4 on each side. So there's 8 ways to make a mistake. So now you have to determine, now that we have this, you have another thing to determine, and the clue is in your measurements, right? How do you run the fabric? And the first thing you want to ask yourself, can you railroad the fabric or run it sideways because of your measurement all the way around? That's important, because I don't think you're going to get your measurement on the width. Do you see what I'm saying? Most fabrics come off the roll. Most fabrics, if it's a pattern fabric, you have to cut it like this, off the roll it's called, with the selvage on the left and the right. But do you know offhand what your measurement is all the way around? 74. So 74, but a fabric's only 54 inches wide, so it's a good thing you had a fabric that you can railroad. So we're narrowing it down the direction.
So it's 71 plus 3.
Right. So you couldn't run it this way. So you have to railroad it. This is called railroading.
This is always 54.
That's right. This is called railroading, and it's okay that this fabric can be railroaded. So we narrowed it down to 1 out of 8. So now what you need to do is you can either actually do it two ways. You could go this way or this way. So this is really an important tip, you guys. If you're cutting fabric, especially if it's from 1 week to the next, make sure that you're going to be here cutting fabric. Let's say you got your inside, let's say you did your border. You're going to mark it. You're going to bring it over with the chalk that you have, right? You're going to flip it this way and mark top border from the back side. Make sure it's nice and clear. And then let's say next week, right? You want to go and put an arrow in your fabric and the rest of the fabric indicating top, so that when you come back next week, I know that this is just getting you into good habits because you have a circular. You have a circular. But it's just getting you into good habits. You know what I meant by that, right? Okay. So why don't you go ahead and cut it? Okay. And you have the chalk, right? Okay, good. How's it going here?
Good. I think this is really my last set. I've been nailing in any stray stuff.
Okay.
What do you think?
Can I see? Can I show you? Let me see your technique. See how you see what you're doing. Okay, good. Can I see it for a second?
Yeah.
So like if I were doing this, right, my focus would be, you're doing good. You're getting as much as you can. But like that right there, you need to get. You need to get that. Those are taps.
Oh,
Tap,
the taps
tap.
I need to get out
Yep.
too.
Tap, tap, lift.
Okay.
And then I take my finger, feel that. That one there, I'd probably take this.
Yep.
I'd go like this. Tap that in.
That in.
Because you see how the wood is.
Yeah. Kind of crumbling there.
Yeah, actually, this is a good tip.
Okay.
So we're talking about, she's got staples and tacks. This has been upholstered about 4 times.
Yeah.
So you're paying the price for a little bit of laziness on the last 2 or 3 upholsterers.
Yep.
Hope it wasn't me. If it was, I apologize.
You could have recognized it.
But so what we did is we just showed, she's got tacks and staples. So we went to the leg, and there were a couple of staples there that I showed you how to take. But then there's an extra little tack or staple in there, and it's close to that break.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Okay.
If you find yourself really digging, it's not worth it. So but it is worth though. You have to go back and kind of tap, tap, right?
Okay.
Tap, tap, right? And then I see this. See that little nub?
Yeah.
It's just that as I go along, see what I'm doing?
Okay.
I'm right. Are you right-handed?
Yeah.
That's important to go right to left.
Yeah.
Rather than the other way. You'd be surprised because you've got this in your right hand, right?
Yeah.
Right. So let me just do a couple more. Lift. This is a good tool.
Yeah. I got it on Amazon.
Sometimes I use one prong, sometimes I use two prongs. It's up to you.
Okay.
But I'm looking down here as I'm tapping. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I'm not looking up here. Try to get used to.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, if I had a wooden mallet over there, you get used to the wooden mallet. Because most people, when they're using a wooden mallet, if you miss on a wooden mallet,
Yeah.
it's not going to hurt as much as this,
Yeah.
right? So then you're going to go back. Kind of like the idea of having that claw though,
Yeah.
really. And then, you know, and then go along and like that.
Okay,
That's how I would
perfect.
do it.
Thank you
Okay?
very much.
You're welcome. Let me just, you guys are all set? You got one layer, 2 layers,
3 layers.
3 layers. Wow, yeah. And then I'm just going to check to see how good you're doing at cleaning it up. So I feel like one nub in there, but you did good. There's only one that I would feel, and I go back a lot of times. I keep going back to make sure because you miss them, and then you're still doing this.
Oh, that one should come off.
Yep.
Okay.
And then you're still doing this one too, right? Oh no, you got this one. Yeah, good. And then you might want to clean up, go back
that,
and
yeah.
keep all this on, but go back and clean it up. And you don't have your fabric tie? Or you
Just
do?
have that
Okay.
for the front.
The next thing you're going to do after this, I'll check it, you're going to measure it. Do you have any paper? No?
I have my phone and I have a...
Whatever is good for you.
Okay.
Yeah. How's it going?
Good. I'm just getting this layer of, I think you called it decking off.
Oh yeah, good. Yep, keep going. You're getting there too, and you don't have fabric tonight.
I don't have fabric.
But you
tonight.
can measure.
Yes.
You'll have something to do. How's it going?
Good, yeah.
Good. Oh yeah, you're still
I'm
busy.
still busy.
Okay.
And so I just have this and the back.
And you're going to need fabric.
I have fabric.
Oh
I'll
good.
bring it up,
Okay, bring it up, yeah. How's it going?
I'm having fun.
Okay, good.
yeah.
That's the important thing, right?
like
You can
doing
open a
this.
window if you get hot.
I will, probably.
Okay.
I want to ask you, is there like an equation or something for because I have the chair that matches this, but I don't have a cushion for it, so I need to order a cushion. Is there like an equation to figure out how thick I want it? Or
For
just
an extra cushion or
yeah, where is it?
for a chair or something, or a loose cushion for a bench or something
Yeah,
like
for
that?
the seat cushion. Oh, it's in my pocket.
And you want the seat cushion to match this.
Yeah, I'm going to redo the whole chair as well.
So that's good.
So I just want to know what I should order, because this is the one I have, it just happens to fit, doesn't matter. Can you even see that? It's so dark.
But that's an upholstered seat, an upholstered chair?
Yeah.
That you're just looking for contrast or you're trying to match
No,
that?
I'm going to redo everything.
I'll
now.
redo the chair
Yes,
with the ottoman? Okay.
maybe not in this class, but maybe.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's.
So this is a good question, you guys, about yardage. If you're wondering about how we figure yardage, for students, sometimes I overestimate a little bit just to make sure that if there's a mistake. So if you guys have extra fabric after what I tell you for yardage, that just means you did a good job. But if you make a mistake, you'll have just enough fabric. So there's a little leeway there, probably about 10 to 20% or 15% more. But when you look at the question is, she's got a chair that she just showed me. It's a club chair with the loose cushion. And she's wanting to do this, but she needs to order the fabric for both pieces. She might not get to the chair, but she needs to know how much to get. So when I'm looking at a chair, let's use that modern chair as an example. You know, in my head, I break it out. I'll look at a chair like this, and I'll say the cushion takes 1.5 yards, the seat takes 1/2 yard, that's 2 yards. I still do this even now, because the customers sometimes will ask, why am I getting 7 yards for a chair? I think I told you 7 for this, right? Mm-hmm. So let's break it down a little bit more. So 1.5, 2, 3 yards, right? 4.5, you're up to at least 1.5 there, that's 4.5. Okay. And then 5.5, 6.5 for the outsides to 7. Now, there's a little added twist to this chair because you're doing a contrast, right? So she's got 4 yards of mohair for the interior, right? And then for the exterior,
A matching linen.
3 yards,
Okay.
right? So that's the 7, right?
Yes.
Sometimes if it's patterns, and patterns kind of throws it off a little bit on the numbers. If you're doing patterns, it depends on how much of a pattern there is.
Right.
But you have to consider that. If somebody comes and brings you a 36-inch, by the way, are you doing a solid fabric on yours? Yes. So yours, you know, 6 and 3, so 9 yards for you. And they're skirts too, right?
I'm not going to see it.
There are no skirts, so still just, that's a good amount to get, 9 yards, okay? All right, and this chair over here, if you're looking at this chair, diamond tuft, how much yardage did you get, Michelle?
So this is a separate fabric, different fabric?
Oh, you're doing a contrast too?
I am.
Oh, you guys are challenging tonight. So what did you get? Tell me the
So I
breakdown.
got 4.5, but I've got another chair, so it's for both.
4.5 for what?
4.5 for the back,
Okay, for both chairs?
for both chairs.
Boy, you live dangerous. It'll be enough, but you better be careful.
Yeah.
And what'd you get for the inside?
And then the inside, I can't remember, I got it a while ago, so I
That's-
can't remember. It's at least 4, but
That's tight.
it's tight.
That's really tight. For 2 chairs. Man, she's got 2 chairs. We'll do it, don't worry. Don't worry. We might even start measuring tonight. How you doing here?
So I'm a little confused. So this is gonna be the top. Going around, all the way in diameter around, this is 74 inches, which is from here to the end.
Yeah.
Okay, so. So I'm not sure, and if this is 46, so am I,
You know what might be a useful tool for you? The chalk, you guys, this chalk that we use, it's a powdered chalk. It's not a school chalk. It's not a tailor's chalk. A tailor's chalk stains. I don't like tailor's chalk. I don't know how they get away with using tailor chalk. It's a very thin line, so I think with the tailor's chalk, they're coming outside of the line. So the chalk, this is kind of an important point. The chalk is left inside the material, inside the suit or whatever they're doing. With upholsterers, our chalk's a little bit thicker, right? But it's a powder, so you're able to thin this out a little bit for finer lines, which you don't have to do right now. You don't have to do that at all. If you're doing a cushion, a fitted cushion, you could make a point on the chalk with your scissors. That gives you a fine line. But the real advantage to this chalk is that it doesn't stain. I've never seen it stain a fabric. And if the chalk doesn't come out, it cleans off easily. So all of that leads up to this. So it might be for your, to get around, you're struggling with the measurements because you're going from a round ottoman to a square, right? And that's hard. It really is to get your head around that. So just take and make an arrow like that to keep your direction straight. That's the top. You really have to get that straight. That's the top, where you're standing. You could be over there too, but that's the top, that's the bottom. So you have to take your measurements. So this would mess me up a little bit. So let me just redo this for you. So you've got a diagram, and your measurements are kind of all over the place. So what I would do is, so tell me, this is simple, because then when you come over here, it just gives you a better advantage. So I go up, I do it simple, up and down and side to side. I'll show the camera this in a minute. And then I label over here, border, right? So what's your border side to side? 74? 74, up and down? Opportunity. Up and down, what is it? You don't,
up and over?
oh, okay, you're missing a measurement, that's why. Let's go back over here. So let's show the camera this so far. This is the way I do it. Down one column, we label everything that's, if this was a wing chair, if this was a tuxedo sofa, you'd have 3 measurements. I know it seems simple, you only have 2 pieces really. You have the top and you have the border. You have the welting too, but you're putting a welting on, right? Yeah. We'll label that, we'll put that down there. So you have three, right? So let's just do this. And then welt. So let's go over here and fill in. So what we have the border side to side measurement, which is 74, which I have labeled here, and then measure up and down. That's the measurement you're missing. Up and down, let's say 13 inches. 13, well, 10 plus 3, right? So 13 inches, and what you get for the top seat? 30 inches?
Because I
was coming down.
Yeah, you come down a little bit. Watch this, because she's going to be tacking right here. Over to the other side. She's got 26 plus 3, 29. We'll go 30, because you had 30. Now let's show. Does this clarify it a little bit?
Yeah, so I think it was just this piece that
That's right. So when you leave your bench and you take it over, this is where a lot gets muddled, believe it or not. It gets muddled as it did, right? But when you get over to the table and you lay this flat and you have this reference side to side and up and down. So let's go over. And now it should make it easier. Okay? So for your 13, well, you get your 74 and mark it. You don't have to cut it yet. Just mark the whole thing, right?
So I have it from here to there.
Oh, and the 70, you might want to get, you're a little too far up though, right? So you only need 13, right? So take your tape measure and just get about 5 marks at the 13 all the way across, okay? And then follow and bring this line down a little bit. And before you cut it, call me and I'll check it. Okay, if you want, if you feel ambitious, above that, you want 1.5 inches above that for your welting, because it's the same 74. So you're always thinking the best use of the fabric. So instead of jumping to the top of the ottoman, like the 30 by 30, do that first. Do the welting above the boxing first, right? Does that make sense?
Tell me what you think.
This is perfect.
Okay.
Yeah,
So now I can
keep
cut
going.
and just
Yep,
keep- okay.
keep going. And tack that. And
And I
yep.
did do just what you said. I took one out and I pulled it. I
It
just
looks
wanted
really
to-
good. It looks really good. Yep. All right. Hi, Susan.
So, is there a trick to getting these things out?
Yeah, did you use the magnet yet? Did we have the giant magnet? That's a fantasy. That's every upholsterer's fantasy.
Do I need to?
Somebody told me that they do have a magnet strong enough. The only problem is everything in the room goes. Some nurse told me. A nurse told me that. And
For her,
sometimes
it's worse than you.
I think that was on one of those funny shows like Police Story or something. The guy had a magnet and it was sticking to everything.
So can I just leave this? Does it matter?
So
Careful,
Susan's
I didn't need the
asking.
bottom.
Let's come over here. So this is what you do. You have your hammer, and let me see what you were using. I'll bring all the tools over that you were using.
Okay, I got all these.
First of all, oftentimes you'll see me on one knee in the shop to get a little bit more eye level like this, to get a
Okay.
better look at it, if you
Okay.
can. If you can't, I have chairs. This, look at me, this chair's perfect. It's not that you're being lazy. It's just that you're getting a better angle.
Getting
Right.
old.
So what I'm doing is I'm filling this. You see these?
Yeah,
These are rays, so they have to come out.
Okay.
But the rule is, if you had, see this tack,
Yeah,
this
that goes
staple's
in.
like 90 pounds of pressures, put that in it. The rule is, if you're digging at that and creating a divot in the wood, don't do
Don't
it.
bother.
But
Yeah.
run your finger along to make
Yeah.
sure that it's even. You see
Yeah,
this
I got
this
that, but
staple
what
here?
about these?
Let me see. They have to come out. So your tool, this is a little long. I'm going to give you another tool. Okay. Unless, is this working for you? All right. Because that's a little awkward for me. It's a little too long. You need a shorter tool. Hold on 1 second. You'll see a big difference. This is actually a special tool. So this is an upholsterer's tack and staple remover.
Oh,
It's a little shorter, so it gives you, it's a
at
closer,
that.
it's a little bit, it's a little
Okay.
firmer to get closer to the watch.
yeah.
So right there, you line it up, tap, tap, and then twist.
Oh.
And then get it up enough so that you can take it out
Then
with
you
the
do-
pliers, right?
okay.
Does that make
Same
sense?
with this, too.
And then before you leave this area,
Yeah.
right, check the whole thing out with
Yeah.
your hammer, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
clean it up, and
Yeah.
you're doing good.
Just taking.
I know, I know. How's it going? Does it sound good?
Sounds really, other than the thing going flying that one time.
Does it sound good?
It sounds really good.
Yeah?
And the video was Wi-Fi here.
So remember Liam Nielsen when he was... Should I take this with me? I'll be right back. We like to have fun.
Oh, I know. My son picked it up. He's on duty at the hospital. Or you need to curse. You come by a student. There's no rhyme or rule to it. Yeah, I think so. I'm almost outside back. And then your brother, outside doing it. Yeah, I know. Because it starts Saturday. Oh, no, I thought outside back was first.
So the old tax?
Tax and staples, I think.
Oh, you could throw them out.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, yep.
So we're good.
You guys are close. I think the advantage that you guys have together, it's easier for me. You're at the same point, you know, with the stripping. When you're ready, when you're both done, take your paper out. Ideally an 8x11 if you have it. I know that you have your phone. That's okay. If you can use, I'm not used to the phone. I need hard paper. But if the phone, I mean, maybe there's some paper around here. Actually, do I have paper here? Oh, guess what? Kevin brought some paper. I did something right. Oh, thanks. So you both need paper?
Yes. Oh, we can share a sheet, maybe.
Oh, whatever.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Are you pens and paper? Do you have pens? I mean, do you have tape measures?
We have a.
Okay.
I have a sock tape. I think I have a.
Are you guys ready now? You know what I'd like you to do? You're not ready yet, right? What I'd like you to do is
I think I'm pretty much done, but.
you clean up a little bit before you do the measuring. I always find a clean table, you know, is good. And then move the chair this way, face on this way, both chairs this way, so we can measure it. Okay. Actually, Tim, this is going to be interesting down here because both students are at the same spot with measuring, but they're a different style.
Right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go through all the whole measuring process for each one together.
You'll probably want to, I can only go to that blue tape essentially.
Oh, okay. Well, it's going to be hard to move those, so.
Yeah, so I mean, if you could just turn the chairs.
Oh, this way?
Yeah.
Oh,
That should be
because you
fine.
can kind of zoom in.
I can zoom in.
Oh, that's cool. Little change of strategy. Your chair is positioned right. I'm going to bring it out a little bit like this. And tilt it. No, just like that. But her chair needs to be pushed this way. Because I think this is a good, I love these learning. This is a good learning. That's good. That good, Tim? Because so you guys are at the same point with the measuring, but they're different styles. So we're going to learn a lot about how to measure. Okay? Yep.
Okay.
All right. Cool. You know what? There's one thing I don't have here is a straight edge. I have to remember to bring a straight edge. Make a note of that. But you can.
So here's my 30. Doyle? No, sorry.
So if you have a good pair of scissors, these are a nice pair of scissors. Where'd you get them?
So this is 13. This is the
Okay.
plus 1.5.
So this is your piping. Going to be your piping,
This is the
and then
base.
this is the base. So
And then here's my 30 by 30 square.
okay. So you can go ahead and cut just like small cuts like this if you're unsure yourself.
Okay.
But if you want to speed up a little bit, I'm not advising you to do this maybe, but you know, as you go along, it's up to you. I don't know where you are on your cutting. But sometimes you can't do it with this. Some fabrics you can glide. You can't do that on this. It's just going to get hung up. So just little cuts. Make sure you're lined up. If you want to take more references, it's up to you. Okay? But before that, this is really important, you guys. Before that leaves the table. Because like I said, there are 8 ways. You could forget what side the fabric's on next week. Who knows? We're just trying to set up good habits. I know that you wouldn't, but after you cut it, don't let it leave the table until you flip it this way, mark top. I go through the process. I just go through the trouble of even marking it. Even now, I'll write, and don't be on a corner. Cut a little bit more. Flip this way. Write top. Sometimes the reference too with the lettering is important.
Okay.
Instead of writing top this way,
Okay.
make sure that you know. And sometimes arrows. Some people like to put arrows in each piece. That's really important to be consistent that way, right? How's it going?
Good.
Cool, cool.
I should be done with this soon, and then I
Great.
guess I'll-
Great. We'll do the back. All right, I'll be right back. How do I?
And the Wayside Inn was a lovely event.
The baby right after.
What's that?
The baby right after.
I mean, she was rubbing her belly at the event tonight. She just looked like somebody. She just had that look of somebody who was going to like maybe just 5 weeks early, but it's a big deal. Did stay in the hospital a couple nights. Did gone and now is gone. They're renting. They're living in Lisa's. Lisa has a home in Hillsborough, New Hampshire. So they're living there, and
Why are they living there?
I think they're in a little bit of a transitional period, and I think they're both able to work remotely, or he's able to work remotely, and so the rent is, they obviously have a good rent. It's in a pretty area, it's on the water. But I guess, it's a struggle. They need to keep her two babies pregnant. And because she's pregnant, said she would lost some weight naturally.
Yeah.
She can't breastfeed. She's got a breast pump. And then I need to lose the bottom so that they can measure the amount the baby is getting, which is all very tiring to the mother.
Yeah, this thing
She
is
lives with
super
her grandparents.
Yeah, it's,
When I
it was only $300, that's all.
she would be.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was very,
There was this little lake.
Lost her. Was it the father or the mother?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then the father's wife or girlfriend sat at my table.
was it your fault?
Oh, no, I bumped it, yeah. Also,
He
the
had
other
some
one
wedding
off,
issues.
so.
He had some wedding
Oh,
issues.
really?
So,
Like, you know what happened?
Lauren,
This one
mother,
black, so
said
they don't.
there was a bridal shower May 31st.
How long did it take to get back on?
Because it was plugged in. It takes forever for them to realize that it's plugged in, it's too high. So it didn't.
Doesn't matter what.
That's why I was telling you, eventually it was just really strange.
So Laura said, well, I'd like to invite your sister and niece and stuff.
The audio was amazing.
You can invite my family.
They looked at our video, how nice it was together.
His mother, no. I said, how about the next
How
one?
nice it is.
So this is the actual.
I'm not gonna
That's the
do it.
live view. This is the stream view.
That's bizarre. That wasn't what I thought you were trying to say.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, that's bizarre.
There we go, a little bit better. Not perfect, still,
Say, you know.
still on the table. Yeah.
So that's called interlacing?
Dude,
That's-
that's,
Six to six wedding.
So that's what you're saying.
okay.
So essentially, the lines
Well,
in one,
right, right.
and it'll.
There's no way it's perfect. Those do amazing
Do
lines,
odd
right?
things. I don't know what message that sends exactly. you talk to?
She said
Next week,
that
we'll
the
have
job
75
sale
photos.
prep,
So
so she's with
they
us.
don't make these big ones in 100, and I'll be like,
Last week
Wait,
was
what
nice.
is this one?
I don't know, it's 30,
So
30.
far, so
Like-
good. John
Maybe
loves
I
it.
can
Loves
Okay,
it.
cool.
Oh.
75 is perfect. Then you'd be able to move all the way out. You gotta be careful for stuff. You gotta get caught on something.
Yeah.
It's funny that can't make, I think it's funny that have no that. Yeah. How about,
Well, we're having engagement party.
what's that?
We're having engagement party. So, we'll have that.
Okay, well,
And that,
close enough,
yeah, that was a long time ago.
but you were planning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all three
Well, I mean, is there some redundancy there? Yeah.
I never thought of
Yeah, you're getting in big trouble.
that. That's what I'm saying.
If you're making money off it, which, I mean,
For the music, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing would be big.
I suppose you don't have to have both.
Find some.
Hey guys, next week we have off. There's no class next week. There's one other class. Check out the Lexington Arts for that one. I'm not sure which one that is. I think it's in May. May 13th? Okay, good, thanks. May 13th is the other class.
I've got all the stapled out, so I don't know what to do.
Okay, good.
And then this is just something, I don't know if I can,
What's the wedding day?
So this one here, well, I guess you could probably get a clamp on that at some point, you know, sooner than later.
well, yeah, so do you think
just
this
say,
would glue
actually-
and clamp it?
So one of the problems with these zigzag springs is it really stretches the wood in a weird way.
Okay,
So you can try it, but if it doesn't work, I would leave it.
yeah, yeah.
All right, so do you think you're pretty cool?
I got, yeah, at least for the back and sides.
So what I would like you to do, we need to do some, you need to take this off.
Yep.
Okay, but before you do that, you want to pin, actually. You can hear me, Tim? So when you have a piece, you have kind of like a half restoration, half reupholstery. So, I mean, we have to get in here, and even if it may need more work than, you know, just a regular upholstery. So the important thing is, especially with diamond tufting, is to try to preserve the inside back as much as possible, right? So what you want to do with your covers that are coming through, that are attached to the tufting, I want you to use the pin tacks, tack that up.
Okay,
Pin tack is a 1/2 inch, the 6-ounce tack usually, only halfway in, right?
okay.
So you get 3 pin tacks on each section, okay? And then what I want you to do, after you do that, you can rip this forward and
So,
just,
I think it's.
don't do that now.
No. Well, I
Because you
was trying
see
to
this
pull
here?
it. Okay,
You
yeah.
want to get that back, right?
Okay,
And don't worry about this yet, do this first, because
just pin tack.
pin tack it, and then you could try to take it out. You could pull this off.
but it's just 2 pieces, I think, right?
These are 2 separate pieces.
Oh,
You're
I
only
see, you're
taking the
keeping
top
this-
piece.
I see,
Yes,
okay.
yep.
So I'm
But you
pulling
can't
the-
pull this until that's pin tacked up, because if you pull this now, you'll disturb the tufting, and you don't want to do that.
Oh, okay.
You see the point? And then you're going to be working the seat and the deck first before you do anything on the back.
But I don't think it's going to disturb it.
Well, it will.
It will? Yeah?
Come to the
Okay.
front. Again, you know, especially the channels on the bottom. they were already pulled out a little bit. So that's what I'm focusing on right now, is the chill. Yeah, they're right. On these other parts are pretty solid, right? Okay.
So these pin tacks?
Yeah, the 6-ounce tacks, that one there, yep. Yep. You're welcome. How's it going here?
I'm just supposed to get it all the way down, right?
Yep.
You want me to remove all this?
Not yet. Just concentrate on this first and then let me take a look at it, okay?
Do you ever just
No.
like reading it?
No, it's always at least taking the cover off, and then, the very least is you take the cover off and add maybe cotton a little bit like we're doing over here. But never go over fabric. It's not a good idea. Yeah. Oh, is this a separate?
This is something
Oh, you
different.
had a contract? Oh, something different altogether.
I want to learn how to do the welting.
You want to learn how to do what?
Do the welting, because I need to add it to my chair that
Yeah,
I
we have to get a sewing machine in here. I'm working on that.
So, but I need an inch and a half.
Yeah, that looks, it depends on the fabric too. If you have a fabric that's stretchy, right? An inch and a half is, hold on a second. A stretchy fabric, you don't need as much of a width, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense? A thinner fabric, you don't need as much of a width. On a thicker, non-stretchy fabric, you need a little bit, does that make sense? Like a quarter or half an inch. But that's like 2.5 inches, right? So that would be, for piping, that would be too big. So you need to trim that down to 1.5 inches.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because that's too much.
Sew and then cut later?
That's hard to do. I wouldn't recommend that. So if you were to first put your piping in there, let's go get a piece of piping and put it in there. I'll be right back. So if you were to do that, I know that sounds easy, but it really isn't, because you have to go back and then you have to cut that with the double layer of fabric.
Okay.
And it's really hard to cut something that small. So would you allow me to cut a little bit of this? You're definitely going to use it for that? See, I don't need to take the tape. What's
I've
that?
already done, so I finished the chair.
You did?
Now I'm just want to add
For piping. Okay. So I'm going to trim this down. I'm going to show you. I actually don't even need to measure. I have a pretty good eye for this. That's about what you want. If you measure that, that would probably be about 1.5 inches or 1.75 inches. 2. Can trim it just. You don't want to be cutting 2 of those. That would be hard. So when you put your piping in now,
And what size is the cord?
that's a 5/32.
Okay.
That's the flange that you want,
Okay.
right?
And then you just.
You don't have to
sew,
trim that.
And then you just go.
Yep. Yep.
You have to use a double-footed.
No, you can use a zipper foot for this, or they have special single welt foot. You don't need that though. The zipper foot will do it.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, some people like using a zipper foot because it gets tighter to the piping. So the whole idea about that is when you feed this in the machine,
Yeah.
you want to angle it a little bit in order to get that really tight up against. That's really important for your next thing that goes on, right? And I could show you little tips like that when we get the machine in here. Yeah. Okay. Are you all done cutting?
So I'm all done cutting.
Okay. There's some cotton. See that box over there? If you can get that cotton, you can remove everything from your table and just lay the cotton out. Don't do anything until I show you. I'll show you how to do that. Are you guys almost ready? Let me know. Okay. You're all set?
But are you trying to replace them or just kind of add to them? Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Before I take it out, I want to make sure you want me to.
Oh, let me see. I want you to try to save this.
Okay, yeah.
So you could take this off in layers neatly, kind of remark to yourself that that's the front edge. You could tell because all this is bally here. If you want to mark it, you can.
Yeah,
I'm a big believer in, see, can I have your cushion for a second? What you could do just for now, you can lay this on the cushion, like the front of the cushion to indicate that. So put that back, because you're going to reuse that. And I need you to be careful with this part.
Yeah.
Okay, this part is stitched, so you're going to have to try to cut this off. Try to cut this right through here. Do you have a pair of scissors? It's a weird way to do it. If you could just cut that along there,
Okay.
and then expose this without ripping it.
Okay.
You should be able to take this off one piece and put it with the deck.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm trying to make it easier for this part here.
Yeah.
So this,
then-
it's also, you need to undo this. So this is really interesting. So this is a manufacturer's speed up is what it is. So what they have this is all self-contained. And then they put this on after. We do it the opposite way where we custom furniture. By hand, it's done differently.
Yeah.
But what you're seeing here is they have an order for 10,000 of these. So they're trying to cut as many corners as possible. They're trying to speed up production.
Yeah.
So these ones, this tufted back that you see is not hand done. It's all machine made. It's all done off the piece and then put on. But you're going to be doing it by hand, one button at a time.
Okay.
So it's a little bit harder, but kind of more endearing than how they did it. So they actually get orders like that, 10,000 at a time sometimes, right? So they have to find ways of doing that. So undo that, take the cotton out, and then you need to take, this is called an edge roll.
Yep.
And there are big staples in there. If you need help with that, I'll help you, but that has to come off. And try to save that.
Yep.
Because we reuse those too. Okay, you guys ready? Okay, you guys both have tape measures?
Yep. Do.
Hey, Tim, this is interesting because we have two pieces that need to be measured. And everybody else might want to pay attention to this because this is kind of a good lesson to learn, I think. So we have two pieces. What we're going to do, I'm going to read off, I need down one column and space it about every other space, down one column, a description of each section of the chair, right? So what you want to do is like write down this column. It's seat, deck, and so on, and I'll read them out to you, okay? So we'll start with, up at the top, you're going to put seat, and down that column, and deck underneath that. Write it out.
And then deck.
Yep.
She stole my pen.
Yes,
Oh.
sorry. I have multicolored
All right.
packages.
And then there's going to be a slight difference. We'll start with this one first. Inside arms, and always make sure you put the S in there, inside arms, right? Not inside arm.
Okay.
If you need to, just pluralize it. And so this is all one piece. So what I was looking for is see if there was a seam here.
Okay.
And depending on the fabric, what type of fabric were you thinking about?
We're doing a mohair.
The mohair, on this one too?
Yeah, but it's a different color. It's blue.
Okay, the
Lighter.
reason I asked, if you were doing a pattern or something, sometimes you might want a seam, an extra seam here in order to line it up.
Okay.
But you could still do it in one piece. So both of you have inside arms with an S. That's the next thing. You have a border, which you're going to put underneath that, a border. You can specify arm border, okay? Yours is a front border. And what you want to do on this one here is bracket those two. She's going to put a bracket indicating that they go together, right?
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Just kind of like a little bracket.
Oh, these two?
Yeah, exactly. Yours, you're going to need one more and then a bracket. She's going to, because this is all one piece, right? She's got outside arms, put below yours outside arms, and bracket all three of those together. So we'll hold that up for the camera. What the bracket is indicating is that they have to be sewn together, right? That's what that's indicating. So she has two components that are sewn together. You have three components that are sewn together. Okay. So the next thing would be, let's do this one first. It's a little easier. Inside back. Okay? Inside back. You actually do have just called an inside back, but it's a completely different back than hers. Yours, and that's a whole another class, okay, how to cut that. There's a specific way of cutting that, okay? So now you're on to the outside arms. So you have to determine on your outside arms, what's the contrasting fabric look like?
It's a solid linen.
Solid linen, okay, great. So let's turn this and show people. So we already know that this is just the outside arm. It looks very much like the inside arms. It might even be the same measurements, we're not sure yet. But on this one here, you have to determine, and let's say you get a piece that, she's already stripped it off. I'm sure she has the extra pieces, but let's just look at it to determine, would you put this all in one piece? You can do that. I think it would look better.
Yeah.
So you can say inside arms and make a little note, includes wing. Okay, that's really important. She's not going to make a separate wing. If she makes a separate wing, she has a horizontal line. Horizontal lines in upholstery don't look very well, okay? Vertical lines are more acceptable than horizontal lines. Something about horizontal lines, unless you have ottomans, unless there's a reason, it depends. But here you can imagine why put a line here when you can make this all smooth. So we're actually designing, we're designers too, right? So I want to, and then I'm going to let you go and measure this by yourselves. Okay, but before we get to that, let's finish. Outside back is the last that you need to put on. And then down below, you can put outside back for yours too. Down below, I want you to put a little asterisk and put in cushion. Just put cushion as a note that she needs a loose cushion. But we're not going to get into that. That's also another time. Okay, it's a whole other process. You too, you have a seat and a back cushion.
I have both.
So make sure you make a note, seat and back. That's a reminder for us later. It's going to be a separate page of measurements for cushions, and it's a whole different ballgame, cushions, right? So let's see. Okay, so now what you need to do is indicate, very simple, you need 2 measurements for each piece, right? Try to make it as simple as possible. Alyssa, did you find that method helpful with the process? Okay, so let's hold this up. Can I have a pen? So up and down, side to side. It's very simple. And then like that, and we hold that up to the camera. Up and down, side to side. It doesn't really matter, it's up to you which is which. You can reverse those if you want, but it's important because when you get to the table, let's say you get to the table, you flip your page down like so, and then you reference all your measurements based on those 2 slashes. That's all they are. Don't overcomplicate this. And the other thing you don't want to do, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch is no. Round it off to the high number. The reason that's important is it's always the higher number. It's always, by the way, I'm just going to leave you with this. It's whatever you think the measurement is plus 3 inches overall. Okay, that's how you do it. And the reason that people get stuck when they're doing things on their own, they'll take everything and they'll call them a pattern.
Yeah.
They aren't patterns. So when we have them oversized, so when we put them on, we cut them down. So you're not getting the pattern, you're getting and that's really hard to work with. So what the extra 3 inches does is it gives you that stretching. It allows you to stretch, and stretching is everything in upholstery, and there's like separate lessons just for that. So I'm going to leave you with that, okay? And I'm going to check them all, don't worry, okay? All right. Any questions before I go? Did you, Mark, you did yours too, okay.
Yes, so for like something like this where this changes from, like a 1 inch up here to like, the whole width.
You're only cutting rectangles and squares.
Only cutting rectangles.
Don't focus on any of that yet. That's a really good question. Really good question. You're only doing rectangles and
So I'm
squares.
essentially measuring this width by this
You're going to try to, measure from here and an imaginary line out here and drop it like there. Don't go diagonally.
Yeah.
Right? That's really a good question. And you're going to be going through the seat where you know where it was tacked before. That's your measurement that
all
way.
the way down.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really a good question. Yeah. Okay? Did you cut it? Oh, let's take a look. This is really going to be interesting. I need a seat because I can't do that standing up. I'll be over there in a minute. Do you need me over there, Patrick, for something? Do you need me over there for something? All right. So remember I said you don't want the bulk coming over the edge. And so this is a little oversized, but I'm glad to see it oversized instead of undersized. So what my focus is this specifically right here. Okay, so when you take cotton and pat it down and trim it right to that edge, like that, the fabric takes it a little bit over, and it's perfect. So this is called feathering.
Okay.
So feather it all the way around, and then don't wait for me for the next step. When you take your fabric, okay, and then this is important to know, on cotton, your fabric tends to really stick to the cotton. So you want to try to get it about right the first time if you can. So like like a blanket, you're just going to kind of blanket it and then let it fall.
Okay.
And then any adjustment from there is going to be like smoothing out.
Okay.
Try not to be too far off, and if you pick it up again, it's going to stick to the back. So cotton's tricky that way, and this cotton is a AAA cotton,
Okay.
which is a very fine cotton. You could still see little bits of plant.
Yep.
Okay, but the A cotton, you can actually see dirt, believe it or not. It's like it came right off the farm.
So
And
should I try to squish it down a little bit first?
so you compress and then and then trim. Yep. Doesn't that feel good? Oh, you know what? Do we have a panel? We had that panel marked, right? We had a separate thing for panel, right?
Yes,
Okay.
the front.
Well, do you have a
yeah,
question?
I just did a little rectangle thing.
Yeah?
Can I ask a silly question?
Yeah,
The
no silly
deck
questions.
is this and the seat is,
So the seat is this, and the deck is this. And you have a choice of using another fabric for the deck to save fabric. So sometimes I have extra fabrics lying around, or if you do,
Yeah.
bring it in.
yeah, we have like muslin or,
Muslin's not great for the deck. I have muslin over there. Yeah, it's not a good material for that. Another fabric would be good.
okay.
Yeah. Okay? All right. Is there anybody on there? Huh?
Do you use glue?
Do I use glue sometimes, or to do framework sometimes, light framework, not anything too heavy for me. I found out a long time ago, doing wood refinishing or sanding doesn't go well with fabric at all. Do you know the main
Because
reason?
of the dust or what?
The dust, fabric is like a magnet
Look at
for
this, it's
dust.
gorgeous.
Yeah, look at it, But little wood pieces and things like that get stuck to fabric very easily, especially like anything that's black.
Oh,
It's just like a magnet for some reason. Wool's real, you can imagine. Are you all set?
I think so. I think I just need to peel this off.
Okay.
But would you recommend redoing the legs?
You'd be surprised what Old English does.
Okay.
Old English stain.
Old English.
I know the woodworkers out there cringing, but I really find it effective, really. It will take this out. Water damage it doesn't do,
Okay.
Oh, how you doing on this?
Good.
Oh,
have this
boy,
one
look at
last
that.
one.
Do you have one of those? Look at this, you guys. She's got, this is the staple that she had. You guys thought you had a hard job. Look at the size staple she has on her edge roll on the front. And she's doing a pretty good job. She's already got a few of them out. How many did you got out?
I just have one left.
One more. She's got a good technique there. That's a real manufacturer's. Yeah. And she has zigzag springs, which, manufacturers like using zigzag springs. And problem with zigzag springs is all that, you can imagine what they do is they take it, they attach it to the back, and they stretch it. And there's a lot of spring, there's a lot of tension on that. And then they add 4 across the, so it puts a lot of stress and pressure on the wood frame.
It's amazing it
Yeah.
stood up to it.
I know. So you could take this off.
Yeah.
And then you could try to take this off. The reason I had you do it this way, guys, this is really important. So instead of having her attack it from the front, right, like this, you guys, because she's got a very, another thing manufacturers like to do is they don't like upholsterers because I think they make things that, they don't, this is a hard thing to do because it's just a small groove and there's a single piping that's put in it.
Yeah.
That means it's really hard to get staples out without ruining the wood.
Yeah.
So the reason I had you do it this way is so that now you can maybe try to use the fabric to your advantage, the leverage on the fabric, So you could take it and try to preserve the wood on the bottom, but you can kind of, this is not finished, see? This is your finish.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be taking your pliers this way, but see if you could take your pliers
So these are all
this way, like
staples
this.
inside, okay. Yeah,
So,
that's-
so sometimes if you take your pliers, oh, look at that.
Oh, okay.
Do you see
Just
that?
Pull it out with that.
Pull it out, all the staples will come out.
So I'm gonna have to staple everything back in.
Yeah.
That'll be tricky.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, we have a long nose stapler
okay,
that, where is it? Somewhere around here.
yeah.
That will work out good with that.
All right,
Okay, and then what we do is you pin tack it, and then I come with the staple.
okay,
Okay?
all right.
All right?
Can I ask,
Yep.
is this type of mesh, or does it need?
I think that's perfect.
Okay.
So you're almost done.
And you'll show them, then I'll come back and ask you how to do it.
Yeah. Yep. Wow, the nice
Start to clean up the
about
corduroy.
10 minutes of, 10 minutes of, yeah, that would be good. All right. How's Susan doing over here?
Yeah, I'm doing the same old thing. But it's really good for me.
What do you do for work, Susan?
You know,
Oh, never mind.
it's like meditation.
Oh. I don't know how meditative this is with all the hammering.
Well,
Well, maybe there's some of it in there.
mindless, which is great.
Thank you.
No, the whole concept is not, but taking out the staples is.
I know. Can I have your little staple remover? Just did one over here. I just wanted to get.
So
There you
how'd
go.
you get into that?
I started, in a shop in Newton, and my brother-in-law invited me along for the ride when I was probably 18, which is old for starting as an apprentice, at least in that tradition. It's better to be start as a father-son deal, really young,
Yeah.
if there's an interest.
And your sister's husband?
Yes. He had the advantage of being a woodworker, which a lot of the woodworking skills transfer over very nicely to this.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
bet.
You all set? Oh boy, do we have a mess going here. Let's get a close-up of this baby.
Oh, great. I thought you might want to see this.
So this is interesting.
I found it on the street, okay?
Yeah. So what they've done is they've used rubberized horsehair. They have an edge roll. You have to replace this.
Okay.
So you are going to be going down to the frame on this.
Okay.
But I just want to show people, and this is no good,
Yeah.
especially since it's a street find. We'll get rid of everything.
Thank you.
What is
Go.
this, Fran? What is this?
This is cotton. We use it over here. She's got it on her top of her ottoman over here. A fresh piece of cotton. You can see what a fresh cotton looks like, opposed to a stained cotton. You could throw all this away, but I want to show people the order of how to do that. The cotton should come, you could pull that off separately. But the horsehair they've got, the rubberized horsehair they've got stitched to the fox, this is called fox edging. There's 3 different edgings. There's a finger roll, which is about the size of a finger. There's a medium roll, and then there's the fox edging. I think they call it that because of a foxtail. I think it's like an old English name for that. But this has to be clipped. You take your scissors and just clip this, and then throw the horsehair away. And then you need to attack this. This is stapled or tacked. You take that off. The fox edging is tacked. And then underneath that is the burlap, and that has to come off. Okay? So you got some work to do. Okay, who needs, you're all set, right?
I need it.
Let me come down here. What's that?
I'll take this out. I don't know if it's stuck on the material, but it's.
Let me just go to. Oh yeah, you know what happened? It rolled.
Rolled around.
Yeah. There you go. Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So this is cool. Round things are not easy to upholster. They're kind of a pain in the neck. And I don't, you might be wondering, why didn't I cut it round? Why don't you cut it round, right? Because what's that expression, square hole with a round peg or something like that, but it's your fabric is squared, right? And it doesn't hurt that you have little extensions here for stretching, right? So you cut this 30 by 30, right? So you're going to have the ends are going to be longer than. So the reason we don't cut it down like that is because this is really important. Is because you can't get the stretch.
Okay.
So you can't get a bias stretch like that, right? On something that's cut round. Of course, if you were doing the box, it would be cut round a 1/2 of an inch over, and then the seam would be the 1/2 inch for the piping. Do you follow me? That was different. That's how it was done before, right? So the approach to this is pin tacking. It's a very light pin tacking first. You're going to, for instance, come here and pin tack here, and then you're going to go opposite and pin tack. Actually, you know what to do? First start with your straight lines first, this way and this way. And then, so it'll be this way and this way, and then your corners.
Okay.
And then in between, and then it's a matter of stretching from there.
And how far do I?
Probably about every 2 inches. I want to see a pin tack about every 2 inches.
Do I want to go into?
You want to be below.
Below the.
Right here is okay. You can be tacking in here. You have to tack in here, okay? And definitely, I think you need to get a little above eye level when you do that. And try not to turn, don't be tempted to turn this over because you'll lose the cotton.
Okay.
You have to do it with it upright. That makes sense, right? And how are you doing here?
I'm almost done. I'm getting all the tacks.
Yeah, you're getting there. This is important to clean up. You know,
Yeah.
it'll help you later when you.
Thank you.
So you don't need to take that off yet, but you can.
Just cleaning up some of the staples
Yeah.
on the inside.
Okay, that's fine. Let's. You know what? Just see this for a second. No, let's keep that. That's a different class. Okay. Well, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure everything. I'm going to rattle off the measurements to you, and if you need to change it, you will, right? Because have your tape measure. So what we're doing here is we're checking to see.
Super long, you don't have to short.
Yeah, that's good. They are a little awkward, aren't they? So what? So what's your first measurement?
The deck.
Deck. So deck. Okay, and another thing that's really important is terminology. When we talk about a deck, we talk about a front and a back.
Okay.
When we talk about everything else, it's a top and a bottom. That really is important.
Okay.
Because and when we're talking cushions, we're talking on the top of a cushion and the bottom of a cushion, the front and the back.
Okay.
On the boxing, we're talking top and bottom. The reason that's important is because when we're done, we want a nice flow to the fabric. If you have one piece, whether it be a little piece of piping,
Yeah.
or a panel, or a boxing, or an inside arm, or one of these, upside down,
Got it.
it's a
Okay.
disaster.
Yes.
So this is why we take the time to do all these measurements like this and get them all in. So what I'm going to say, I'm going to say deck, I'm going to say front to back or back to front,
Okay.
all right?
And this is the front, and that's.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that seems.
So what did you have? What did you have for that measurement? And this is with your 3 inches, right?
Well, I did 18 by 19 finish size, 21 by 22 cut size.
Okay, that's okay for you for the beginning, but usually when I'm doing it, you can actually go back if you want. It's really important, right? So this is a good learning tool. I like what you did.
Okay.
But you might want to get one measurement for each piece because when you're over there referencing that, you don't want your eye to wander to the first measurement. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But this is a good tool right now.
Okay.
Okay, but I'm just going to rattle these off with the 3 inches, okay? So you can adjust it if needed, okay? So you might want to circle these measurements,
Okay.
right? So front to back, I have 23 on the deck, side to side. And see where I'm coming through. It's where it's going to be tacked, which is right through here, right? Where it's tacked plus the 3 inches. So we're going to go 29 plus 3, 32, side to side on the deck. Okay, people could see this a little bit better. I'm going to be coming from in this seam, and I'm going to give it about a 1/2 of an inch because it's a 1/2 an inch seam in there. And notice, guys, always round it off. Don't deal with 1/2 inches here because when you get on your table, like I said, it's a lot harder. The reason is it's a lot harder on the fly to divide up fractions than it is whole numbers, and it doesn't make a huge difference. If it's 20 and a half and you go 21, that's fine. Okay, because that 1.5 inches is for that stretch. We'll get to that in later classes. We might get to that tonight because we have a piece over here that we're doing it on. And like I said before, people make the mistake of using these patterns and cutting their fabric to the patterns. It's not a good idea because then you don't have anything to stretch, right? I can't emphasize that enough. So I'm going to go from that seam to the here. I got 13 plus 3, it's 16. Okay. The next measurement, what's the next category? Inside arms?
Inside arms.
Okay, inside arm, up and down. Really, I say it to myself even now after over 40 years, up and down, inside arm, up and down, inside arm. I'll repeat myself because I don't want it to get mixed up on my measurements. All right? Because very rarely do you have a square. Very rare. It's usually rectangles. So up and down, and then I'm going to where it's going to be tacked there, and I'm coming all the way around to where it's tacked below the arm, which is 27 plus 3, that's 30 inches. Up and down, right? Up and down, side to side. Goes way back here. Side to side, I got 20 plus 3, 23. You got that? What's the next one? What's the next one?
Front borders.
Front border. I'm going to change that. I think I might have told you that, but it's actually the terminology again is important because I stopped. Borders are usually horizontal. Panels are usually up like this. That's really important, right? A panel is always usually up this way. So the panel up and down, that was my fault. I think I told you that. Up and down, 28. Side to side. Now look at over here now. Don't make the mistake of just coming here. What you have to do is kind of, some people use yardsticks to kind of draw it down this way and then measure. I use my eye. If you're not sure, you want to make sure that this is the furthest measurement. Okay, this is not the furthest measurement. It's actually the furthest measurement is here to here, right? It's kind of tricky, right? So I get, on that one there, I get 10 inches, 10?
That's what I got. 13 with the...
No, 10, I'm giving you when I say I'm giving you with the 3. So the inside back, I want you to write for now on the inside back, to be determined, okay? To be determined. Actually, sorry, let's take that back. Half of it's to be determined. Let me back up a little bit. I can actually measure this for you, okay? But this is really tricky because this is, I'll show you. Let's do the up and down first, okay? But what's going to be determined later is the actual cut, but the actual like channeled cut. I don't know if you're following this, but so what we do need to get a measurement to actually cut, but later on after it's been cut, it's a separate class.
Okay.
Is how to show you how to do a channel cut. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know what's being cut with the channel, but I'm sure
You'll see. So up and down, I have 39. Side to side, now watch this. You guys, on the side to side measurement, you have to actually go into each channel. Okay, watch. And you're coming over to the furthest point, and I'm going, look what I'm doing. I'm drawing my finger in, and then I'm gonna lift it up a little bit here, because it's wider at the top. And I'm really making sure that I got enough. All right. So I got 58 inches. That's your cut measurement, 58. And so your fabric, this is interesting, you guys. Her fabric's probably 54 inches. So what we would need to do in this case probably would be to add, and we can add a piece, a separate piece, because it's stitched, right? But what I would rather see is this all one piece. It's a lot easier to have it all one piece and do your angle cuts up, but you'll see. What's the next one?
Then it's outside back.
Outside back or outside arms?
It was outside back because we were doing it as one piece, but maybe I wrote
The outside arm. You need outside arms.
Oh, okay. I wrote inside back twice. This must be outside.
Oh, yeah. So I need you to, when you're going to rewrite this, right?
Yeah.
And make sure you get these measurements the right way, this way, right? So do you,
Oh, got it.
do you
I'm
know-
putting little...
you're making little notes
Yeah.
over here, but when you're ready, I think it's easier to
Up and
reference
down and
when you,
outside.
yeah, it's just, you'll do that later. Okay, so the outside arm, up and down, all the way to here is 37. And side to side, I have 33. One more. Up and down. I got, okay, this is a little tricky, you guys. So this requires a little bit extra, okay? Because if you wrap this, it'll flare up, okay? So it's quite a curve. So if you were to take the standard 3 inches oversized, it might not be enough.
Yeah.
So we're going to add 4 inches to
Like
this.
swing up here.
Well, it's only going to be tacked here, but it still has quite a curve.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine, you wrap this, it kind of comes up like this. So it's important to make sure you compensate for that.
Are you suggesting 2 vertical seams at the?
Oh, you will have 2 vertical seams. And like I said, vertical seams look better than a horizontal seam, but you need a seam. You need something there.
Yeah, because the
To take
panel,
the curve down.
this
Yeah.
is more than, and this is probably more than the 54 inches or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. You could never wrap this one. It's really hard. You want to separate it. You really do. So up and down, 38. And side to side, always your furthest point, which is up here, right, guys? Right here. And I got 34 side to side. So that one's done. So I would, if I were you, take the time.
Yeah, thank you.
I would take the time.
It always takes me an extra.
No, that's okay. So let's that's blinking. Does that mean anything? Oh, okay. Is everybody all set? Everybody's all set, so let's just go.
Yeah.
So yours is a little different.
Yeah.
So let's give you the deck front to back first, or back to front.
Deck
All right?
first?
Deck, yeah. Is that your first thing you have, or seat?
I have seat first.
Okay,
but
let's do your seat. Up and down on the seat, I have 18. And side to side, I have 35.
Whoa.
Because
Oh,
it goes
I
all the
thought
way,
this-
it goes through here.
Okay, got it.
You can't see it though.
Yeah. it
'cause
kinda
this is-
sinks down.
yeah.
Okay, got it.
The deck front to back or back to front. I'm putting my finger in the back rail back there. The back rail is where it's going to be tacked to the seam. I have 29. Again, it's 26, but I'm adding the 3. I'm giving you the... And then side to side, because this isn't open yet, we kind of have to guess at this. But it's kind of like this.
We're assuming that it's the
What did
same
I
as-
say on the seat
On the
measurement?
seat side to side, you said 35.
So let's say 35 on the deck too, side to side.
Yeah.
Okay, it's important. Inside arm is the next thing.
Inside arms is the next thing, yes.
Up and down on the inside arms, we have to come all the way over here. We have to go all the way through and up. I got 33. That's with your 3 inches. And then side to side, I have to go all the way back here and then draw that imaginary line this way. I got 39. That's with your 3 inches.
I did 40.
That's good. Keep that. Keep that. And guess what? The outside arm's the exact same measurement.
It is. Okay.
Yep.
Even though this panel is
Well, we can measure it just to make sure.
longer, like.
Yeah.
I didn't
Oh,
know
let's
that-
measure it. You're right. So actually I have 36 up and down for the outside arm.
Okay.
Is it the same?
No,
would
this one is shorter,
It's shorter.
and
Okay.
the outside is bigger.
Okay.
Is longer.
So side to side, you got 36, right?
I got
For the up and down.
Yeah.
Side to side, I get 38.
Okay. Which
Did
is
you
pretty
get-
much the same as the inside.
Okay. And the outside back? Oh, we have
You
a
had
box.
one arm border, and I just ran that as like this as a width, and then the whole like
Yep.
this.
So that's important to know, right?
Okay.
That has a top and a bottom. So guys, you don't try to match let's say you have a mohair. You
Yeah.
have a mohair.
So the
So your mohair is running this way, the nap, or if it's a velvet or if it's a chenille, your nap is running this way,
I just need the direction. to be the
right?
same.
You keep it the direction. You don't, so this has to go this way.
Yeah, you'd run it the same direction as the back.
That's
not
right,
the sides,
that's
right.
right,
Okay.
that's right. So the other thing, let's do the measurement. So
Here,
this
do you
is the
want
top.
long one 'cause it's
No, that's okay.
longer arm?
Top and bottom, all right? So we got 60 plus, hold on a second. 67.
Okay. Yep.
Is that what you had?
Yep.
Now, on this one here, there's no need to oversize you're shaking your head like you get this, right?
Yeah.
There's no need to oversize a stitched cut like this
So we're
you
just
might
doing-
want to, it's easier to cut the exact size on the roll than it is to oversize it and then go back and cut it down. That's a really good tip, you guys, because it's harder to cut. We're just talking about a piping over here. That it's harder to cut something that's smaller. If it's on the roll, it's easy to cut, trust me on that one. So when you measure this, this has a top stitch, which you could do, you could decide that later. I don't think you need to do that. Yeah, you don't want to do that. So I'm looking at the side to side, stitch to stitch. I have 3.5 plus an inch.
This full seam allowance. Okay,
4.5
so it's
inches is your cut measurement. And you might want to write down there, note, say exact
Yeah, so
on
it's a
there.
half-inch
Yep.
seam allowance on each side.
Half-inch seam allowance on each side.
Even with the mohair, which is a little thicker, so it might not
Yeah, it's
lay
always
as
a
flat.
half, it's always a half of an inch. It really messes you up when you're doing anything different. It doesn't really matter.
Close to yourself for like, hey, quarter inch on either side as opposed
No,
to
and when you're sewing, it's all your eye,
Okay.
right? And it's one more, right? The outside back?
We have the inside back and the outside back. ones.
Okay, all right, inside back, up and down. Then I have to run over and catch up. 36 inches, up and down.
36?
Yeah? Are you surprised?
I just, it was,
What did you have?
I had 31, but I didn't go
It
down
goes
to
all
like-
the way through into the wood rail, yeah. And then side to side, what did you get side to side?
I did, this is the inside back, I did 25.
Oh, that's way too short, 24, because it has to go through the chair, 24.
So, wait, so say again?
24, I'm sorry. You had 24?
I had, yeah, 25. Because it needs to go.
It's actually
into-
34. It has to come all the way through to here.
All the way to the back
Yep.
of this? Okay.
Yep, 34. That's the inside back. And then up and down,
And the outside back?
36.
Okay.
And then side to side, last measurement, then I'll catch up with you guys. 33, okay?
Yeah.
And I would take the time to neaten up your measurements. That's what I would do if I were you. Okay. Are you all set?
Sounds like it's time to stop now, but I.
Oh, you got a
so-
lot done tonight, I
Yeah,
hope.
that's fine.
Yeah.
So just maybe let me know how I start the next week.
Next, you're going to be going up and down. It's a saddle back too, really. It
Yeah.
saddles on the back. Although I don't know if they'd call it a saddle if it's upright like that. What would you call it? Just a curb back. I would call it a curb back.
Okay.
Actually, we're talking about terminology, how important it is. I don't know if you were listening. Terminology, making sure you're describing each section, because as it relates to the measurements and how you cut your fabric, and also the applications.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So we were just talking, we have a saddle seat, because it saddles, it looks like a saddle. I almost called this, and I know better, a saddle back. It really isn't, it's a curb back. It is
Is there
important.
such a thing as a saddleback?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I would always call it a curb
curb
back.
back, okay.
Because if you have your measurements and you have them written, like for your fabric, and you have saddle seat, saddle back, it's easy to mix those two up. So it's always good to identify. It sounds simple on something that only has 3 pieces, but if you're dealing with a tuxedo sofa or a sectional sofa, and you have 3 pages of measurements, well, all of those slash lines and all of those measurements, and it's your job to try to keep all that organized, right? And to keep all the measurements, all the fabric going in the same direction, right?
Right.
It's so good habits, right?
So just to have the right vocabulary.
So when you're measuring this, you're going to write saddle seat. You're going to have an up and down. Again, front to back, not an up and down on the seat. That's also important. Anything that's laying flat is a front on it and a back.
Front and back.
Anything that's up has a top and a bottom.
Oh, okay.
That's really important.
Okay.
Especially when you have panels that you're sewing onto an arm. You always have to keep that straight. So on yours, you have a saddle seat, front to back. You have a curb back, inside back, up and down, and an outside back, up and down,
Okay.
right?
It's straightforward enough. So
Yep.
how will I start next week? 'Cause it
Next
sounds
week,
like
you're
this
gonna be
Start in
like
the
this on the
middle?
bottom. Yep.
Okay.
Actually, you might be able to get 3. If you can get 4, get 4. Okay, because that
Should I
would be
do some
better coverage.
chalk to just-
I would.
Okay.
I would see what works
Am I doing the
best.
same thing as I'm doing?
Yeah, pretty much. Only you're going to be working with it down like this.
But this time, am I going to use the stretcher, or am I going to use the?
You're going to use the stretcher from the bottom to the top.
Okay, I will use the
3 or
stretcher.
4 webbings, depending on what your measurements are.
Okay.
And then side to side, you're going to do the hand stretch.
I'll
Yep.
make a note of
And
that.
just this is cool, you guys. I just want to show off the work here. Look, isn't that beautiful?
Beautiful.
It's too bad it's going to be covered for 100 years after this.